My sincere congratulations to you for this.
Oh, thank you. Well,
it's a really...
Thank you. Well,
because I'm being a publicity professional.
Yeah.
I sniff things that
yes.
how it looks like.
Well, that's fantastic. For those people who don't know, I'm here with Hom Paribag. Hom, you used to be working in publishing. You used to run Society Today magazine. You're an entrepreneur. You're the founder of Top Tea. You've got a fascinating story. You're from Nepal originally. You come from a very large family. I think that from very humble beginnings. Just in a minute or so, I wonder, and we're in a noisy cafe, so apologies for people for that. And if we just project, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, and your story.
Thanks, Rasheed. My name is Hom Paribag. I hail from Nepal, the Himalayan nation of Nepal. It's a very beautiful country. The 8 highest mountains of 10 are in Nepal.
Wow, 8 of the world's tallest mountains are not. Yeah.
Yeah, and 8 of 10 are there.
Wow.
Nepal is a very fascinating country. On the one hand, it has the highest mountains of the world, and then the hills, and then the plain. And Nepal looks like almost as if it is a small miniature version of the planet Earth.
Wow.
And I was born.
Is that because of just all the variety of the hills and the mountains?
Climate and the weather, and then the geography and just like that.
Yeah.
And also the cultural richness of people.
Yeah.
And the ethnic diversity is also absolutely amazing. 30, 40 different types of population, people,
really?
ethnicity.
Wow.
So Nepal is a kind of place where everything is there. Like, so I come from that country.
And what was growing up like? I understand you had a very modest background. What was growing up like?
You see, I was a very... I used to get affected by the serenity of the mountains, the height of the mountain. Even as a child, when I used to go to school, crossing the river, the glacier, Himalayan glacier water, filled river. When I looked at the mountains, it used to touch me. I think that's what
touched emotionally. You were emotionally touched.
And in a soul-wise. I think that's what made me to be a poet in my early teens.
So you were a poet in your early teens?
Yes, I've got 5 books published in Nepali language.
And this is quite extraordinary because I didn't know that. Because I understand that you were one of, was it right? You were one of the first family. How many in your family?
We have 5 siblings.
5 siblings, and you were the first person. Is that right?
Go to college
and so on.
Even properly finish the education. I think it's not the poverty itself. It wasn't the case, but it was the social norm.
Right.
If you live in the countryside, you mean you're part of the countryside rather than part of the modernity or educations or highlight, let's say.
And how did you find yourself in the United Kingdom? How did you come to the United Kingdom? And how did you start out in business?
I was a very thriving and very well, let's say, received one of the young editors in Nepal.
Yeah, so you became an editor.
Editor in Nepal. I think my first book was published when I was 19 years old.
Wow. And that was poetry, was it?
Poetry. It was a poetry. And 3 of my books were poetry, and 1 is novel, and the other one is a biography. So they were relatively very successful, especially the biography and my novel, published by one of the largest and oldest publishers of Nepal. Yeah. Was very well received. But then my queries used to be like that why the West is different.
Right.
What makes Western people be appreciated by the people of Nepal or the people from the village?
Right. So people were people aspiring to the West and Western life?
Yeah, because a lot of tourists used to go to Nepal and still do. And like roughly 1 million tourists visit Nepal. And we as a kids, carrying the books in our hand, walking almost like a barefoot. We used to go to school, and then the tourists going to the mountains, national. It's fascinating. And as I grew up, as I finished my high school, and I was always hungry for knowledge, and I used to wonder, what is that makes the people from the poorer world attracted to the West? What is that? So that was the curiosity that I innately had it.
Right. Yeah.
And that made me to learn more, and so I applied for the university. And I got the place
in the UK.
In 96 I arrived here. Yeah. And I studied English literature as well as international relations.
So then,
my degree.
What led you then into so you set up Society Today? Was that your first entrepreneurial venture?
In the United Kingdom, yes.
Yeah. And what was that about? I get the feeling it was about social issues, social concerns. Is that right?
I think we in the university were very enriched or enlightened about the notion of globalizations and culture and ethnicity and the diversity and unity as a theme. But then when I looked at the society here, a certain group of people, especially the immigrant community, maybe did not have the opportunity to be part of the society, or the host nation or the indigenous people here, or the British people, did not have the opportunity to connect with the ethnic people, because the both parties wanted to connect with each other, and there was no medium.
And it's out with the magazine.
And we sort of like, listen, I mean, yes, we may see problems in the immigrant community and all this, but I don't think there is a problem as such, because the problem is because we don't know about them.
Right, okay, so it's about understanding culture and so on.
And bringing the people together.
Right.
It was a fascinatingly successful platform for a period of time.
So then I understand that obviously publishing is a very difficult industry, difficult times, and then you, I'm fascinated, I want to talk a little bit about the business that you're in now. Oh, you were very well, thank you, yeah. And then you then decided to change business, to set up a whole new business. And I love the story behind this, and I think that I mention it in the book in which you're mentioned, that you literally had a dream, and you started dreaming about tea. Tell us in just a nutshell about that. You had this dream because you're thinking, what business can I do? Is that right? Tell us the story.
The recession set in as our publishing business venture was going really successful, and then the banking crisis happened, which was in 2008 and 9, and bank literally stopped, issuing the credit or supporting the businesses. So as a result of that, we did not fail as such ourselves, but the distributor and suppliers had a problem, and we lost some money also. And so it was a very tough time. And we decided to take a break from publishing business. But then when you leave a job and then try to move on to other, even without knowing it, you are in a very, very tough emotional state or state of thinking.
And that's interesting what you're saying in itself, Hom, because I think that when you're running a successful venture, you talked about being publishing before in Nepal, being successful, writing some successful books, and then a magazine, the magazine's going well, and then people often forget the economy can turn, and therefore you've got to change again, so suddenly you have got to review and change. You said you took some time out, and then where did this, so tell us then about this dream. And
I one day, I'm a relatively slightly spiritual person, and I see solutions in solace as well as the quiet communication with the world that is often not understood by us so easily. So one day in a positive thinking, I went to bed, and then I had this amazing dream of green land, green, very accessible, green, pleasant land, and I woke up, and in the dream it was almost told, have you followed that? Do you realize this, or do you understand this? And I woke up not knowing what it was. And as I went on holiday to meet my family in Nepal, and then friends told me Nepal produces a fantastic series of tea, and it revived my curiosity. And as I bought some tea to gift to the friends here in the UK, they all loved it. And then again, in my quiet realization, the tea comes from the green gardens, plantation. And that dream that I had in my time of difficult, state of emotion in terms of the business, it just connected. It's yes, got it. I got the answer. So I pursued that dream to turn into reality, and so therefore we garnered a lot of good friends and supporters.
And so you set up this tea business, and I understand this thing very well. You're stocked in Harrods, is that right? Tell us some of the places.
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah.
Because the teas from Nepal are liked by every single person. Because it's not just that people from Britain like Nepali people, but then in terms of our business, the quality of the tea. So
there's very, from that part of the world, you say, is it because of the land so fertile? Is that right?
Yes, that's right. The Himalayas, because what happens? The monsoon happens. The stream of the monsoon raises from the Bay of Bengal, and it rise high up, and then it flies to the Himalayas, and it hits the Himalaya, and it comes down to the south, and it gives the monsoon rain. So that is one element, but then the tea garden that we based on for our business is from the districts bordering to Darjeeling. Because Darjeeling produces the best best quality of tea in the entire world. And so, in fact, our tea gardens from Nepal complement to a lot of Darjeeling variety of tea.
And I understand that actually in Nepal, there's a richness so that you can actually produce large volumes of tea.
Quite a bit.
And this is one of the things I want to talk to you about, because this is one of the things you're very passionate about. One of the things I like about you in terms of business, that you're very keen to, it's not just about running a business for you, you're wanting to run a business that's going to be providing employment for people in that part of the world. And I understand you're working at the moment on a program to try and help people. Tell us a little bit about that aspect. What's one of the things that you're wanting to do there in terms of Nepal through your business? Tell us.
See, what happened was, from the period of 96 through 2007, Nepal went through the Maoist war. Roughly about 15,000 to 20,000 people got killed. And it was very hurtful for us Nepalese, or for us people being in the diaspora here in the Western world. And I talked to a lot of people. Yes, the British people really love to help Nepal, but then helping and handing out charity itself, whilst it is quite abundant in number or amount, it's not helping to really address the real social issue. And therefore, it allowed a kind of a political thinking like Maoism to thrive in the country. As a result of which, almost like a civil war took place for 10 years. 15,000 to 20,000 people got killed. And I said, listen, charities must be done, but charity should not replace the trade. Because society suffers because people do not have opportunities.
So this is so you were thinking, actually, that's all very well in terms of this, but trade is really important
for people. If you really have a high regards for people such as of Nepal, let's say from the West, it's not the charity that will sustain them for longer term, it's the trade.
It's a trade, and so that's why you've been busy, not just running your business, looking at how it is that you can boost employment opportunities. I know that you're dealing with, you're working with politicians, you're working with the authorities the farmers. And what's the ultimate goal? Tell us, what's your vision then in terms of ultimately, what's your vision?
Nepal gave birth to great soul, great man, or Lord we call Buddha. Fantastic. Nepal has the highest mountains, fantastic. Nepal is also known as the land of Gaikas, the soldiers that even today serve the British monarch and British army. But I don't think that's enough alone. What we discovered is Nepal produces the fantastic quality of tea. If we know how to handle it properly and how to expand it in a sustainable way, it can not only feed the British market but the rest of the world. And so we think, our team of people think that being able to produce high quality tea with a better value for money, good price, good for health also, in a larger scale, can turn around the economy.
And I also like that's what it's about. And also I like, before we close, because we're running out of time, but one of the other things I quite liked is that you're quite passionate about the fact that the reason why tea, also you said that tea it's sociable, it brings people together, it gives people an opportunity to kind of connect. It's a shame that we don't have your teas here today, but I'm sure it's only a period of time. But that's what part of your passion, isn't it? It's such an important social aspect.
So what I discovered, my friend Rasheed, is that we have a lot of technologies, internet, emails, textbooks and gadgets, but it's never better to communicate face to face than the technology, than the reliance on our technology. When you talk to friends, what would be the best medium? Is it tea or coffee? And if you have the better quality of tea, that also enriches your soul and your health, isn't that better?
Well, that's wonderful.
It's a very simple thing. Tea is one of the simple pleasures of human life. That's how the Chinese started some 3,000 years back. And some 200 years ago, the British went and planted the tea in the Indian, Darjeeling in the Indian, Assam, Indian places like Assam and other part of the world. And then the Nepali farmers, because of the climatic similarities and the access to resources of the quality that it produces tea in a better quality, and they did it, and so we have the best quality tea.
Wonderful.
And that's what we're trying to do.
Wonderful. Well, I just love what it is that you wanted to do. So it's about people, it's about business, it's about tea, it's about something that's together, something that people can connect to, and for this social end. And I know that there's all sorts of work that you're doing with all sorts of people trying to help the people of Nepal and so on. So I want to commend you on that. And just one other thing I want to talk about, because I think that you'll mention, I'm trying to remember which bit of the book you're in. I think it might be in the bit about compassion. Because we both think that compassion is very important. This whole book is about doing a business that you love. And you're very passionate about business. I love the fact that you brought together your social interests from that you did when you were running Society Today with business and trade, which is why you're in that particular area. I just want to very quickly, before we close on compassion, talk about that, because I know unfortunately when I was writing this and when I was saying to you, I want to feature you in the magazine, you dropped me a line, and you're so busy, you're so giving to everybody else. You were at a point where I think you had just come out of hospital yourself. I hope you don't mind. You've had a minor health scare. So tell us why is compassion and taking care of oneself also so important to an entrepreneur? Because people often forget about it, isn't it? We can be doing the most amazing work, but if we don't take care of ourselves and doing business from the heart, tell us just a word about that before we close.
I think that capitalism in its own right is one of the best forms of running the economic system of the world. But capitalism is only supported by the technologies and machines. It's a dry, it's almost lifeless. What needs to be brought in the business to have the sustainability or to have the joy and warmth is the compassion, the love. If you see the world and all the histories and the patterns of the civilization, the great souls have been born in this world, and the simple thing they have relayed to humanity is love.
Yeah, quite right.
Whether you talk about Jesus Christ, whether you talk about Buddha, whether you talk about all the great prophets of the world, Muhammad, you name it.
And I'm wearing underneath this, I don't know if people can see, don't worry, one of my clients.
But the Dalai Lama, Mahatma Gandhi, Mandela, what essentially they have done to love each other. And so often these are big ideas and it goes to the mass population. But often one forgets about themselves or himself or herself, not loving, not being compassionate enough, not being aware enough. If one has that element, even if you go through a difficult time, let's say health scare problem, you revive quickly. That's what I did. That's what I did.
Right, that's what you did.
That's what I did.
Because you're coming from that compassionate space, and I love what you were saying there. I just think before we close, I think what I really like is that I love this, that you have this internal sense of wanting to start from the quiet and the solitude and the poetic and understanding life and who we are as spirit souls. But then at the same time, you're very keen to be in the world. How is it that we can connect? How is it that we can create societies that are rich? How is it? And I think that's quite rare as an entrepreneur. And I think that's why I wanted to feature in this book, because for me, you're one of tomorrow's type of entrepreneurs. Somebody who's really thinking mindfully and compassionately about who we are, where we're at, and how it is that we can genuinely run a business that we care about and that is of value in the world. So that's why I want to commend you in the work that you're doing. So I just want to close by thanking you for that, because I think the work that you're doing is remarkable. I want to wish you all the best. I hope that Top Tea goes from strength to strength. I know that you're in a number of places now, and I just want to wish you all the best. I'm going to leave you to smile whilst I just turn off the camera.
And I really commend your book. And the cover is beautiful, introduction is beautiful, and I wish you great success also.
Thank you.
Proceed for this one.
Thank you.
And it deserves a great success also.
Thank you.